Welcome back, guys. You're watching Today's Platinum, and in this video we're going to be going over the daily news for Bitcoin as well as cryptocurrency and just going over some of the updates in today's stories. So as you can see, just looking at the charts, it is a bit of a green day today. Looking better, a little bump up in Bitcoin's price, about 1.23% in the last 24 hours, looking at a price point of about 65.49.40. A little side note, Ripple, it looks like, changed their logo. I wonder if they have a new website. Just going to check this out real quick. Very interesting, very interesting. So it looks like they changed their logo, switched up their website. Very cool, very cool. All right, so guys, jumping into what's going on with the market, right? What's going on with Bitcoin? So we held the support at around 6160, right around that point, and we bounced up from there, right? There was news about the government saying that Ethereum is not a security. They will not consider it a security. However, we are starting to see a bit of resistance start to form. So hopefully, if we don't see a breakthrough, the current resistance that we're seeing at about 66, 63, or to a little bit higher, 6,700, around that area, I do believe that we could possibly revisit that point of about 6160 and hopefully bounce off there again. I do not believe that we will see prices below 6,000. We obviously saw where we were oversold on that day chart, and we have bounced back up from that. Hopefully we can start to gain some momentum in the next few days or so. But we're going to go over a few reasons why the price of Bitcoin as well as other cryptocurrencies has continued to move the way it has been moving. So we'll discuss a few stories that may be why the price action has been like this. So let's go ahead and get into those. So starting off on CoinDesk, rejoice or bemoan. SEC's Ether comments divide crypto. So if you guys don't know, the SEC basically, I'll just read this right here. Based on my understanding of the present state of Ether, the Ethereum network and its decentralized structure, current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions. So said William Hinman, director of the Division of Corporate Finance at the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission at Yahoo, All Markets Summit event in San Francisco yesterday. As you might expect if you've been following 2018's regulatory drama, the online crypto community subsequently exploded with commentary. The big deal, the implication is that the world's second largest cryptocurrency isn't currently running afoul with the law, at least now, and that the SEC may be preparing to soften its approach to the sector in general. That's just the tip of the iceberg, though, and immediately blog posts started springing up opening on the subject. Advocates for the cryptocurrency took it as affirmation of their views on securities law, while legal experts who expected the SEC to come down swiftly on the industry were more bewildered. The SEC has just abdicated responsibility for enforcing securities laws in the United States, or so wrote blockchain entrepreneur and UK lawyer Preston Byrne. So looks like some good news, guys. We'll talk a little bit more about it after, but let's continue reading. So some serious responses. Still, the real ramifications aren't exactly known. Hinman's statements, while instructive, don't represent a ruling. As a spokesperson for Coin Center told CoinDesk, it's best seen as a speech by the director of the division that most directly makes policy dealing with this question. Byrne also pointed out to investors that it is still too early to celebrate. No, just because the SEC has said this stuff isn't a security doesn't mean a federal judge will agree. In the event of a price collapse, plaintiffs could still make the argument, IMV credibly, due to the fact that the stuff was being sold to retail direct. The takeaway from this side of crypto Twitter, compliance is a long game. Plan accordingly. Seeing a lot of folk in crypto land go over their skies and apply this to a bunch of other potential cases, which it's explicitly not meant to do, and potential remains that SEC could pursue action against Ethereum founds for unregistered offering. Okay, so I'm not going to read all of these, but basically, guys, that sounds like some good news for Ethereum and the crypto space in general. If it is said to be a security, if Ethereum and all these other coins are said to be a security, then there will most likely be more enforced or harder regulation, and all of these projects will have to go through a certain process if they are regulated in that way. However, based off what we just read, about the opinion on Ethereum being a security or not, it doesn't seem like we're going to go in that direction. So where could I see it going? Honestly, if they're not calling it a security, I could see regulation for possibly the exchanges, only positive regulation, possibly regulation for exchanges, and then allowing larger exchanges like the NASDAQ to create cryptocurrency markets, possibly. Honestly, based off this quote, I am only feeling good about this current news. However, I do want to point out that I do agree with this. A federal judge has not come out and said, no, it is not a security, right? That's just a comment from a spokesperson. We still don't know what's going to happen. So this is a possibility of why we had such a rebound yesterday, back from 61.60 all the way up to about 67.60. So we had a nice little rebound. Not sure if we're going to continue that movement, but we'll have to see. So jumping into more stories, Bitcoin sell-off caused by futures expiring. That's what Tom Lee says. So some of the weakness seen in Bitcoin over the past week was likely caused by futures contracts reaching their expiry date. According to Tom Lee, head of research at Fundstrat Global Advisors, in a report released on Thursday, Lee blames the sell-off on significant volatility around futures expiry dates on the CBOE and CME futures marketplaces. He further cites a theory by Justin Saslaw, crypto asset investor at Raptor Capital Management, that says Bitcoin seems to fall as the related futures are nearing their expiry date. Bitcoin sees dramatic price changes around CBOE futures expirations. We compiled some of the data, and this indeed seems to be true, Lee wrote in the report. Furthermore, Lee explained that the inflow of new capital to the crypto market this year has been insufficient to make up for the new supply coming from initial coin offerings, mining rewards, and outflows due to capital gains taxes. Increased volatility in the underlying markets when futures contracts expire is a well-known phenomenon from stocks and other traditional financial markets. There have been 6 expirations since CBOE launched their Bitcoin futures, with the most recent expiry being on Wednesday, June 13th. Bitcoin has taken a strong hit the past week, trading down from about USD 7,500 last Sunday to a low of 61.35. On Thursday, Bitcoin saw a strong rebound and is trading around 6,600 at press time. So guys, definitely because of futures ending, I could see why such volatility, possibly people trying to manipulate the market, which we'll talk about in a second. If someone predicted that Bitcoin was going to be below 7,000 by the time the future contract expired on the 13th, which was after this large drop below 6,000, then they could easily manipulate the market into such a pattern so that we did drop down to that point, and they would, profit on their futures contract. So let's go ahead and talk about that a little more. Toxic suspected manipulation sees Bitcoin futures sink 55% in 2018. So yes, further concerns surround the impact of Tether and Bitcoin futures on the leading cryptocurrencies' fortunes were raised on CNBC Wednesday, June 13th. Bitcoin futures have sunk 55% this year, reaching their lowest levels since February, weighing in on the controversy surrounding allegations that Tether is being used as a shorting mechanism by institutional players on the Bitcoin futures markets. CIO of Equity Armor Investments dismissed the idea as far-fetched, saying, "I know there's a lot of talk out there about Bitcoin price manipulation by some professor who has probably never traded any significant money. If people were producing Tether to go ahead and then buy Bitcoin, then to me it seems that Tether should go to zero, not Bitcoin." Sutland's mention of some professor refers to a paper released on June 13th by John M. Griffin and Amin Shams of the University of Texas, which suggested that transaction patterns suggest Tether was used to provide price support and manipulate cryptocurrency prices, artificially deflating the price of Bitcoin to maximize short-term returns on futures contracts. So, guys, I do believe that there's some type of manipulation within this market, okay? whether it's manipulation or just straight up the news about manipulation that then leads to FUD in investors. So overall, it could be either of the two. I'm leaning more towards there was actual manipulation. I do believe that is a very strong possibility. So overall, with Bitcoin's securities, the talk about that from the SEC following the Bitcoin futures contracts ending, literally looks like 3 days after this large drop below 6,000, I definitely could see that we were manipulated to go below 6,000 in order to profit on some of the contracts. However many people wanted to manipulate the price down to that point. However, I do see that the reason for the bounce back was due to the comment from the SEC having an overall positive outlook on cryptocurrencies, saying that Ethereum is not a security in their eyes as of now. But then again, guys, nothing is official yet. Nothing is from a judge, so we will still have to see. Alright guys, so in the next few days, I would just expect to see Bitcoin hold above that level of 6160. If not, then I would plan ahead. We talked a little bit about yesterday and the day before. Go check out those videos, guys. Search up, this is all you need to know about Bitcoin's price for the next 2 years, or just go on my channel and check out that video. Very informational video about the future price of Bitcoin. I think it can tell a lot about where we can expect to go in the next year to 2 years. However, short term, expect to hold above 6160. Right now, we're in a little channel, with that resistance at around 6700, and then a support around 6500, kind of moving in between there. Hopefully, either push above that resistance or hold the support at least, and then push up from there. So we'll have to see what happens. But guys, this has been all the news and updates for today. Ethereum, not a security, and more talk on the manipulation in Bitcoin price and futures contracts actually expiring. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave any comments below or suggestions for other videos if you guys want to see anything specific, and I will see you guys in the next video. And if you're not, subscribe to the channel and also leave a like on this one if you enjoyed it. Have a good one, guys.